Hey everyone, Token Dave over here. Dorky token black guy who's just trying to get by. So, we gotta be honest. Reboots, remakes, revivals, reimaginings. It's how movies get into the movie theaters right now, and TV shows and cable shows. They're pretty much mostly remakes and stuff. So, gotta take things as it is, as Miyamoto Musashi says. So instead of like hearing something's getting remade, revived, or rebooted, instead of like a knee-jerk, adversarial reaction, I just base on what the content is and how much I liked it. So when I heard the original Law and Order was getting revived earlier this year, I had huge skepticism because Law and Order, the original series, is my favorite TV show of all time. So, for those that don't know, the original Law and Order series is a crime drama that focuses on two aspects. The law enforcement side, which is the police investigating and catching the criminals, and the prosecutorial side of where, the district attorneys, they actually have to prosecute the suspects that the police has charged. So, I did not know this, but thankfully, a good friend of mine explained this to me. People were wondering, why was New York so crazy as it was in the 70s and 80s? And it was mainly due to the criminal justice system and how it was enforced. So that's how this series came about. And one of the things I love about this series so much is that if you want a proper representation of New York City in the 90s and in the early 2000s, and even in the late 80s too, perfect show. You saw every angle. You saw the high roller lifestyles of most of the upper class people in Manhattan, but then you saw the dirt, the grit, and the grime that you would see in the Bronx, Brooklyn, and some parts of Queens. And then you would also get your, average strap hanger, subway rider and everything. Be that strap hanger, be, the blue collar guy, going to basically be a police officer or construction, or a guy that's dressed in a suit like me that is basically just an office worker. So you got all of that, and this was a great representation of New York up until around the 17th season. So with all that said, how well is the revival? Well, let's go to the pros and the cons. Pro, the law enforcement side is amazing, and that's no stretch because all the Law and Order spinoffs have been focusing on the police officers, so that's no surprise. I will say that Anthony Anderson's return as Detective Bernard is by far the greatest improvement that the revival has, because when he was introduced in the original series, he wasn't very interesting, and I really did not like his character at all, and I did not care for his interactions, and he really stood out in a negative way. That said, the show stealer is Jeffrey Donovan as Detective Kozgov, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. So before I go in, I just gotta state something. My favorite cop in all the Law and Order franchises is Detective Mike Logan, who was portrayed by Chris North, who was a controversial character. And so, controversial person at this moment. The reason why I'm mentioning this is because Jeffrey Donovan's character of Detective Kozgov is the doppelganger of Mike Logan. Where Mike Logan was a single cop and everything, Detective Donovan is a married man and a husband-in-law. Detective Logan, despite what you actually saw of him, he was very much a liberal, whereas Detective Kozgov is very much a conservative. But they are both short-tempered, emotional hotheads, and dear God, we haven't really seen a conservative cop since the first season of the original Law and Order. Thank God we got that conservative cop representative in this right here. Another positive is the writing, because the writing is, well, the writing's the writing. The writing's always been good with Law and Order. Oh, and one other thing, the dynamic between Anthony Anderson and Jeffrey Donovan harkens back to the first season, as you see them arguing and you see like it's a working relationship, and when they have their back and forths, it is like well done. So you got that good conflict that's not over the top or anything like that. Nothing really, really over the top, but then, you know, it is actually decent. Oh, and by the way, I have to state this because while Jeffrey Donovan is amazing, I keep forgetting the actress's name, but our ADA, you know, ADA Manda, or well, her first name is Samantha, you know, she is amazing too. You know, I mean, those are the two best characters, best performers, and best actors in this revival thus far. I don't want to take anything away from the ADA. I just don't remember her name. I can't pronounce it. You know, but and let's be honest, it's Law and Order. The Law and Order series, they do a great job in casting the ADAs. So let's just get that out. But then we gotta go to the cons, and the biggest con is the prosecutorial side. I don't know what it is with Law and Order ever since Sam Waterston's character of Jack McCoy got promoted from EDA to District Attorney, but their EDAs they haven't been that great. Where Cutter in the end of the original run, and with this guy, you know, EDA Pierce, played by Hugh Dancy. I mean, granted, he gets better along, more tolerable, I must say, and the prosecutorial side does improve, but it's a lot to slog through, and he's way too idealistic. I would expect an ADA to be idealistic, but executive district attorney being idealistic, being a crusader, bro, what is wrong with you? You're supposed to prosecute and put away this person based on the law and the facts itself. I know there's some politics that go in, but come on, man. You're a lawyer. You can't have that idealism in there. Another con is that, you know, while environmentally this was a good time to like revive Law and Order with what I said earlier about how things with the crime and everything has going on, and in the 80s where it's coming back, the crime is getting worse now, but you're not getting New York in its whole as you did it in the previous run. The first season, you got to see every angle properly, and not for anything, they were shot in the appropriate places. Here, they're trying to pass off areas in the Bronx and in Queens, and you could tell that they were shot in pretty much Manhattan and Brooklyn. Like, what the hell? And these episodes, I gotta say, they get better, but, you know, it's a lot to sit through, so it's not as compelling, and the prosecutorial part, it's mostly a drag until you get to the 6th episode. From episode 6 or episode 7, prosecutorial parts really take off. But that's all I gotta say. This revival is you know. I mean, if you're a long-time Law and Order fan and a New York City native, you're going to want more. But this played it way too safe. And with Anthony Anderson gone, I'm just wondering if the next season improves. Hopefully so, because I love this series. Agree? Disagree? Please drop me a comment below, give me a like, follow me on Facebook at Token Dave, or on Twitter and Instagram at TokenDave80. Subscribe and ring that bell so you know when a new video loads. But until then, this has been Token Dave, dorky token black guy who's just trying to get by. Catch all of y'all later.